Welcome. Today we would understand the Tamil Nadu set paper that was recently held, and we would be discussing it in two sets. So we would discuss 25 questions in each of the set. Now the first question was the same question that has been asked for your July 2016 examination. So this question says the purpose of higher education is to promote critical and creative thinking. So that's absolutely correct. These abilities ensure job placement, that's again correct, but this reason does not exactly explain the assertion. So both of those we can say are independently correct, but reason does not explain the assertion. The next question was, which of the following statement identifies the negative implication? So read the question very carefully. It asks about the negative implications. So negative implications for research ethics, what are those? So if you are using a study without citing the proper reference, it's unethical. So that's a kind of negative implication we can say. Then conduct of the practitioner is screened in terms of the reported research evidence. That's also incorrect because based on the research findings, even if he is not able to bring in good research findings, you cannot say that the conduct of the person is not good. So that's again something that you need to work around. The next point here is the policy making and the policy implementation are regulated in terms of preliminary studies. So that's again incorrect. We are not understanding this on the basis of preliminary studies. So make this into account. So these three are the incorrect statements that are there. The next question is, under a PhD thesis, which of the following is the correct scheme of chapterization? So first of all, you do an introduction, then you do survey of literature or review of literature, what we call as how the study material should look, the design, presentation of the data, analysis and interpretation of the data, generalizing the data, working for further researches, and finally working around the appendix. So we have talked about this under the class on steps on research proposal. So steps on research proposal is the class where you can just go back and refer this in detail. We also have the link for your reference here. The next question is, we have the question where we are given a problem of syllogism. So what we need to understand is, we have bats, mammals and birds. So this is bats, this is bird and this is mammals. Now what I do is, we say all bats are mammals. That means bat, if any, would be present only in this region. That's only in this region. Now birds are not bats, that means birds cannot lie in this region. So this is the only region which is there. Now based on this, what kind of conclusions can you draw? Birds are not mammals, there is no relation that has been talked about. Bats are not birds, that's true because there is no common intersection that's left. All of this region has been colored up, so or has been shaded down. So this is a kind of correct statement or a correct conclusion that can be drawn. All bats are mammals, I cannot say because bats could be here, here. Sorry, mammals could be in any of the three locations. Some mammals are bat, that could be said. So you have 2 and 4 as the correct options that are correct, and this is as per the syllogism class that we have discussed. So you have to just go back and refer the class on syllogism for the same. Now this is a very interesting question. We have total number of students from the science background that are given. Now we have the total percentage of the students from different streams. Now here when we say 23% of the students are in science stream, this 23% accounts for how much? This accounts for 1049. So if I want to find out the percentage for any other stream, let's say engineering or medical, what I have to do is, I will find out the 1% of it, that's 1049 divided by 23 into 100, and then I will find out the 9% of it, that's multiplied by 9 and so on. So that's one thing. The next is, within the science, we have so many students from different background. Now the question says, what percent of the student in the science faculty are from foreign students? So first of all, we aggregate all these and we aggregate this to 112. Now out of the total students which are 1049, how many are foreign? We can simply say 112 divided by 1049 into 100 and we come up around 11%. So that's 10 point something. So we say 11%. So approximately it's 11%. Now a very interesting thing, many of the questions this time were from data interpretation and reading comprehension. 3 passages for reading comprehension and 3 questions, 3 tables separate for data interpretation. So a substantial section that was there, and that's probable for your NTA as well. So how many students belong to engineering? This we already discussed before. So 23% constitutes to 1049, how much 1% would constitute to, and how much 9% would constitute to. We would find this and we would have an answer that would approximate to 410. So again a very direct question that was asked. The next question is, if there are 34 European medical students, what is the percentage of students in medicine faculty? So medicine faculty we have 5% students. So first of all we would calculate the 5% of this total amount, and this 5% of the total amount, the total students come up around 228. Now out of this 228, 34 are European. So 34 divided by 228 into 100. Now where does this 228 comes from? Again the same thing, 23% contributes to how much? 1049 students. So 1% would contribute to divided by 23, and 5%, that's the part of medicine that's given in the first table, would contribute to is multiplied by 5, and that equals to 228. And we would find 34 out of 228, and that would give us the percentage for the same. The next is SMTP is a simple mail transfer protocol, a very direct question from your computer science this time. The image questions was very simple. The idea was, what we have to do is, in the first image you have 2 black dots and 2 white dots. In the second image you have 3 black dots and 3 white dots. So in the fourth image you would have 4 black dots and 4 white dots as given here, and that's the simplest way to solve it. A very direct question that was there. The next question is, what's the comprehensive approach to discuss the problem of man-environment interaction? So it's the natural resource conservation, urban industrial rural agriculture, nothing to do with man-environment interaction. That's for the urban area and the rural area prosperity. And watershed is where you have the river and the region surrounding the river where you have the river water that's been drained up. That's known as the watershed. The next question talks about the various images, and you have to bring out the correct shape from this image. So what happens is, for each image it's a kind of mirror image that is being formed. So you have a circle with a cross. So here what it would be a circle with cross on the other side. You have a shape that's like this, so it would be shaped like this on the other side, and so on and so forth. So you have to find out mirror images of the objects that are given. A very important question, and you have a video link that's given here. You have to just follow the video link for the purpose. The next is, school is coded as this, me is coded as this. What is coded as school home? So OOL is coded as KKB, and ME is coded as ZY. So KKB and ZY, that's something that's given. Now O is coded as K, so this again becomes K for O of home, and H, that's here, is coded as N. So this H is coded as I. Okay, so this becomes I. So this first becomes your correct choice for this question. Again a direct question on coding decoding problem. The next is, we have 2 sets, we have to match the correct set with the correct explanation. So under an experimental research, what you are trying to do is, you are trying to manipulate an independent variable and measure the effect of the dependent variable. So that's a kind of very simple definition that's given here. So that's how we understand the experimental method. You are trying to understand the relationship. The next is action research. You are trying to enumerate a kind of given situation that's there. Okay, and then for understanding the exposed factor research, you are trying to bring in the effect of dependent variable and making probes or factors which explain it. So that's again correct. So you have the exposed factor research, which is explained by this point. Okay, then you have the next, that is descriptive method. Descriptive method being explained as information obtaining information related to current status of the phenomena, so a kind of very direct concept. Then symbolic interactionism talks about explaining the behavior by means and representations which the people share. So that's how through the symbols you can interact. So again a kind of very direct answer that's here. So those were the correct matches for these questions. The next is which of the following is correct about distance education? It supplements the formal education, it reduces the cost and it enhances the education. It is not actually meant to replace the formal education, it can just supplement or enhance the learning and the quality. Now why it can't replace? Because there are laboratories, your practicals that you have to do, so that's something that you have to take into account. So we have the advantages of distance education and the various reasons attributed to why this cannot actually happen. So a virtual space cannot create a meaningful conversation, that's the sole idea to bring out here. The next is you have the various factors that are put up here, and what you have to do is you have to find out which are important. So teachers' internal locus of control, that's for sure an important factor in affecting the teacher learning. Why? Because an internal factor talks about how do you internally think about something. When you have external locus of control, you would start blaming your external surroundings for the same. So internal locus of control is very, very important. So first is important. Now which of the choices have first? You have first and second as the choices that have first. So you can simply ignore 3 and 4. Now what you can do is just go back and check out the other choices. So you have learner motivation, that's again a right choice. Efficacy, maintaining efficacy by Bandura's experiment, we have talked about it, so that's again important. Managing and monitoring, and knowledge in the subject, that's very obvious. So all these are the primary points. However, a teacher's biographical data is not important and co-curricular activities are not part of it. So these two choices could be ignored straightforwardly. So 1 would be the right answer in this case. The digital empowerment means what? Digital empowerment means talking about digital literacy, access to digital resources, a collaborative digital platform for participative governance, but it does not talk about entitlements. Entitlements basically does not lead to empowerment. So 4 becomes your incorrect choice. So since because of the word entitlement, you have to read the choices very, very carefully to make out a real sense for the questions. The next is, according to the establishment of UGC, which of the following could be granted? A university as an act of parliament, as an act of legislature and deemed to be university are part of it, but based on linguistic minority is not part of it. So we have open university, state university, deemed university, so all those are part of it. So 3 of those are the correct choices. The next question here is, so that's the explanation for the same question. We have the various values that are given. Now these are the values for 2007, 2008 and 2009. The various categories under which you have the tourism that was seen. Now the question says which contribute to 20% of the total foreign tourist arrivals in 2009. Simply you have to find out the total 20% of the total value, and that brings about 102, and you have to see which value is close to 102. So you have North America as the closest value, so that becomes your right answer. The next question is, which of the following region has recorded highest negative growth? So from the table we can simply understand the calculations, and we see Western Europe has the highest negative growth rate. So how do we calculate it? Just go up and you will see you have this value and this value. So what you would do is new value minus old value divided by old value into 100. You will do it for all the regions and you would find out that West Europe has the highest value. Okay. So what you do is you find out this value minus this value divided by this original value, and that's how you find out the negative growth rate. So whichever value you see a declining would be the one where you have a negative growth rate. So here you see a decline, and this decline is significant. So that helps us understand which of the following would be the largest one. Similarly, the region which has been showing a declining trend in terms of foreign tourist arrivals in 2008 and 9. Now this question is a little vague because none of the tables show an exact declining trend. However, in the East Asia in 2007, 8 and 9 data, when you see, you have a marginal decline that's seen for 2008 and then a decline for 2009. So since it's a marginal increase that's for 2008, we can consider East Asia to be the closest choice. However, none of the given choices exactly reveal the answer. The next is, identify the region which have shown hyper growth rate of foreign tourist arrivals than the growth rate of the total foreign tourist arrivals. So again we do the same thing. We have all the values that are there, and for 2008 we find out the rate of growth. So 2008 minus 2007 values divided by 2007 values into 100, and that's how we find out the growth rate. We find out the growth rate for all of those and the total growth rate, and if we find out the total, we have the highest that is seen, that is West Asia, but West Asia is not the part of the choices, so the closest answer here would be South Asia as the answer. Okay. The next is, which of the following statements are correct about NAC? NAC is autonomous, that's correct. It is tasked with the responsibility of accrediting higher education, that's again correct. It's located in Bangalore, so that's incorrect. And this question has been willingly put up this time because in September 2018, it was declared that NAC would have its own regional centers. So far it does not have, and it's proposed that it will have now. So based on that, you can say 4 is correct. And so far it does not have, so it can be incorrect. So 1, 2 or 1, 2, 4 is the correct choices. So you have both the options, so this is a kind of tricky question as of now. But yes, as proposed, you have a kind of idea where you would be having more centers that would be coming up for the NAC. Now the next question talks about the passage question. So we have the question on the heritage conservation, and based on this heritage conservation, we have how many are protected, how many should be given more weightage, how many trained people are there, how we are addressing this issue. So this is the whole passage on conservation. So outlook of conservation heritage has changed after the establishment of the International Center for the Study of Preservation and Restoration of Cultural Property, as mentioned in the passage. The passage is about it basically. So that's the correct answer here. The next is, the intergovernmental organization was appreciated because it's trying to impart training to professionals and sharing the technical expertise. It's not based on the number, it's not talking about the conservation. So 2 is the correct answer that's here. The next question is, Indian conservation movement would be successful if there would be. So what is the correct answer? The correct answer is, if there would be good investment, rigorous attention, dedicated research and dissemination of awareness for conservation. Now this is given in the last line of the paragraph itself, and that's how you understand this answer. The next question is, what is the percentage of the monuments that could be protected based on this? So from the passage, we have 6,600 monuments which are protected and 60,000 equally important monuments. So we have 6,600 divided by 60,000 plus 6,600, and we find the percentage for that, and that would be around 10%. So this is a question that's from data interpretation but part of reading comprehension. So again, very important, as we said, a huge focus was on data interpretation questions. What should we learn from the Europe to conserve our heritage? So here we have the various points. So we should learn about the budget provisions that are there, the establishment of the dedicated labs that are there. So those are the correct choices that are there. So again we are talking about conservation of the engineering institutes. So 1, 2 and 4 become your correct choices here. So you have 2 as the correct choices, okay. So 2 becomes your correct choice because we are talking about the funding, okay. We are talking about the funding, we are talking about the budget provisions, dedicated labs and conservation. So just note, it's 1, 2 and 4 as the correct choice. So with this we cover the first part of your TN set examination for 2018 that was held recently. We would be continuing the remaining questions in the next class. So stay tuned, have a very great day ahead.